and welcome to yet another edition of Smash or Trash Independent Filmmaking, the television program. Now tonight's episode we have a few things going on. Number one, we have the induction of George Stover. Well, not so much induction, but he does get his Lifetime Achievement Award. This was in 2012. We also have some footage from the Garden of Eden premiere, worldwide premiere in Baltimore City. That also was 2012. And Frank Lama talks to Jared No about the red camera. But the most fantastic thing tonight that we are here in the studio for is having East Coast independent filmmaker Kevin Kangas right here in the studio. Kevin, welcome to Smash or Trash.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, let's dive into it. I'm going to guess, what was it, mid-90s, late 90s? When did you decide to get into doing a serious first feature film?
To actually direct one, make a movie, basically?
Yeah. I mean, maybe you had some false starts or whatnot, but I mean, at some point in your life you said, I've got some ideas, let's get serious about this.
Well, I'd been writing for a long time, and I started doing scripts probably when I was about 18 is when I started writing scripts. And then in college I continued to write, and I'd send one off on occasion to try to get a production company interested, but they never did because they were pretty terrible at that point. To be honest, they really, your first couple scripts are horrible. But eventually, I actually met an actor named Rick Gans, and we started doing, shorts and stuff together and shooting a lot of things here and there. And at a certain point, we just said, why don't we just go ahead and make a movie? We'll take a little, $10,000 and make a movie. And I had a nice video camera at that point, like a really, it was a Canon L2. So at that point, it was a high-range camera. I think the camera probably cost me about $8,000, which at that point was a lot of money. And I had written a script, a horror script, a pretty standard one called The Lucky Ones, about a group of teenagers that get kind of stranded out at this, it was the point, basically. We had access to a sort of a lake, and there was a house on the lake, and we had access, a friend of mine lived there. And, it's a standard with a serial killer, who shows up and kills them all in the woods and, various ways. Really uninspiring. And we eventually lost that location. We went through and actually cast quite a bit of that movie. And we were getting ready to shoot it, and we lost the location. And in hindsight, it was a great thing. So Rick had brought me an idea. He said, hey, I got an idea for this kind of movie about a slacker. He gets stoned all the time with his brother. And let's do that. Let's write a script about that. So we started working on that, and it became sort of what I called the slacker with a gun movie, which, is about this guy who, the first half of the movie is just getting used and abused. And then the second half of the movie is basically him coming back and fighting and taking revenge for his brother. So that one we even cast. And I think when we were casting that one, I came up with the idea for Hunting Humans. I think I had, in my college years, I was a bit sociopathic. And I did a lot of dreaming about killing people. I was always thought about interesting ways to kill people all the time. Which probably wasn't healthy, but I did. And so I had the idea at that point, and I'd started coming up with it, and I mentioned to Rick, I said, what do you think about this idea about, following a serial killer? You're this guy, the serial killer, and he's, he follows people's patterns, and he, that's how he always stalks them and everything. And then about, 30 minutes in the movie, he actually finds a dead body, and with a note on it says, I've got your pattern. And it turns out another serial killer is stalking him. And, Rick's eyes kind of lit up, and he's like, well, I really want to see that. That's good. Why don't you write that? And so I actually tested it on a couple other people first, and every person I took that premise to was like, wow, that would be really cool. I want to see that, like serial killer versus serial killer. That's cool. I've never seen that before. And, because Dexter didn't rip it off.